We appreciate you watching and listening to The Dead Jeff Show. Please like and subscribe and tune in for more videos. It's a great day to be alive on The Dead Jeff Show. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. It's episode 18, and it's going to be a heavy dose of the NFL playoffs. I see Luke is rocking the Davante Adams jersey, and yes, the Rams do survive. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Luke was nervously watching that game. But come on in, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share and comment, and I promise we'll interact with you. I'm not on TikTok as we've clearly defined, but Nick and Luke should be interacting with y'all on TikTok. If they're not, send me an email and I'll get onto them. But listen, episode 18. That means we've been doing this for a little bit of while, and we're actually starting to get better. So we appreciate you sticking with us through the thick and thin. Now, before we came on tonight, we were watching the Rams and the Bears game. It was a great game. We'll get to that in a little bit. But we were talking about 80s songs. Nick, I don't know how much of an 80s song guy you are, but we were looking at the most streamed 80s songs just last year, not all time, just last year. In 2025, what was the most streamed 80s song? And we looked at the top 10. And it took my family, a long time to get what was number one. Do you have any guesses, Nick? What would be the number one 80s song streamed last year? The most? It was like 747 million streams.
The 80s last year.
Any song from the 80s, what's the most streamed song? That was number 2. Billie Jean was number 2. That was a good guess. They got that one early too.
Madonna? I don't know. Girls Want to Have Fun?
That's not even Madonna. See, now you're showing
that was Cyndi Lauper. Cyndi Lauper.
You're a wrestling fan. You should know that.
Yeah,
okay, you're disqualified. You just ruined the whole segment with that.
Bro, that's crazy.
The number one streamed 80s song was by The Police, Every Breath You Take. And I would never have gotten that last year. It was the most streamed 80s song, which is kind of wild.
Because of Diddy?
Yeah, Puff Daddy. Let's not mention his name because we might get banned here. Yeah, they did a cover or a remake of that, which was a tribute to Notorious B.I.G. Yeah. So anyway, that's a little trivia for you to start the show. But the most streamed 80s song in 2025 was "Every Breath You Take," and then Billie Jean was second, which is a better song to me. I like Billie Jean better, but that's 100%. To each his own, right? Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up to see how dialed into the 80s you were, Nick, and you just really answered that for me. Not at all. You're not dialed into the 80s at all.
I was born in 88, man.
So, I mean, it's like...
I was born in 99, and I got, like, almost all the songs in the top 10.
There you go. That's what I'm trying to say to you. See, you're not locked in, Nick. You just because you're born in an era doesn't mean you can't appreciate the music from different eras, because I listen to music from the 50s, the doo-wop. I listen to crooners, the Rat Pack, all that stuff, man. So country back in the 80s too. And, I was not born too much earlier, but somewhat earlier than you. It's not like it's 30 years ago before you.
You said
30 years
somewhat
before
earlier?
You.
Is that what you just said?
Yeah, about 15 years.
I don't think your math is math in there, but all right.
I was born 15 years before you were. That's what I'm saying. That's accurate.
But hold on, wait a minute. And when we did the Spotify rap, didn't we establish that Luke is like a super old man when it comes to listening to music?
Yeah, I was 56 years old.
Don't do that. I was 42.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
But you're making excuses because of when you were born. What year?
No, I'm not making it. I'm just saying, a matter of fact. It's not an excuse.
No, I'm saying. No, you said, well, I was born in 88, so I shouldn't know that. And I'm saying I was born in 99 and I knew it. So
yeah, that's the saying. You just don't love music like we do. That's what you're saying.
I mean,
because you're only locked into Eminem. We've already established that you listen to Eminem like 2 gazillion times.
What's your favorite Eminem album?
Eminem Show.
Okay, let's not get into Eminem talk, okay? But anyway, there you have it. Little trivia to start off the show. All right, it's that time of the week everybody looks forward to. The Maestro takes us through the news. Maestro, hit the news.
All right, so here we go. Let me share my screen. 1 second.
Oh, I can't wait. This technology, will it work?
It will. All right, this one's for Nick. All right, so we got Bald Wimby.
There he is.
Everyone react to Bald Wimby. Look at that head. The alien.
Everyone talks about my head, but that head is definitely taller and misshapen. Okay? What in the world possessed them to do this? And it wasn't the whole team, right? It was just him and Keldon Johnson?
Keldon Johnson,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they tried to get Steph Castle to do it. And Castle has a great interview in the post game where he was like 0 chance that was happening. Castle might have the best hair in the league.
Well, that's why Luke's doing his hair that way.
Yeah, that's why I did my hair like this to support Steph Castle to keep his hair. Do not shave it. Do not shave it.
I don't know, man.
Hold on. I think you need to get the Cooper Flag schoolboy haircut. That's what you need, Luke.
That is not my vibe, Dad. That is not my vibe.
Well, you have had that haircut before. I got pictures with you with the Cooper Flag schoolboy haircut.
Yeah, before
he did it first. So Luke did it first.
Yeah, I mean, Cooper Flag's really copying me. So
I think every 12-year-old boy has had the Cooper Flag haircut. I mean, Cooper needs to do something different for sure.
Yeah. Look, if Victor keeps playing the way that he has played in these 2 games with the bald head, don't change it. Keep it. And you asked why. It was after the loss to OKC, and Keldon and Vic were talking, and Vic was just like, "Man, let's shave our heads," and Keldon was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And so it was literally that's it. It's not like some crazy, story. They were just like, "Let's do it, done, let's go." And so, I'm here for it. Just adds to the lore, man. The alien is really embracing the name.
There's only one uglier bald head I've ever seen in my life, and that's shout out to Bill Robertson, who lost a bet and had to shave his head one time, and he never did that again because it was not a pretty look.
When was this? I've never seen any pictures of that.
And this was way before you were born, and way back in our single days, I believe. I can't remember. I don't remember if the bet was a Kentucky, North Carolina. I can't remember the bet. Bill will have to put it in the comments, but he lost and we shaved his head and it looked like this. But Wimby here kind of looks like Corliss Williamson from Arkansas back in the day with this haircut.
Oh, that's a great callback. I actually know Corliss Williamson. Yeah, I know that's a good callback.
So I don't know if I'd have done this, and I know he played well afterwards, so that's good. If he started sucking, they'd have all been upset. But not a great look for Wimby. He does look more like an alien now.
Well, if anything, he's more aerodynamic, so he's gonna jump higher and run faster. So
100%.
Just what he needed. I mean, look at him in this other insert picture. Look how awful that is. What does he weigh? $150, and he's 790.
Take it easy. Man.
What is his height?
He's 240. Let's just get it right.
He's 240, but he's like 7'50".
5 at least.
Oh, okay. He looks like he should be named the Slim Reaper. That's a good name for him.
Yeah, it is.
But I like the alien area. I like the alien. He does look like an alien, so that's a good nickname.
Yeah.
All right. So next I have.
Now you see my bald head. I look like Tweety Bird.
Oh my gosh.
I still look better than Wimby.
It's hard not to look better than Wimby. It's true.
I have another, speaking of hair, I ran into these, I don't know if y'all have seen any of these, but they have these, AI made Disney Pixar trailers of stupid stuff. So I have a couple that they're pretty quick. Unfortunately, you can't hear it. But here, let me share so y'all can.
Is this gonna go over well if we can't hear it? I mean, are we gonna be wondering what's going on?
It's just you'll get the gist. It's funny. You don't really need to hear it.
Okay. But the people that aren't watching this but only hearing this are not gonna know what we're talking about. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're fine.
No, they're audio only, so just know
Yeah,
that.
it's okay. They can look it up.
Okay.
Just look up AI Pixar trailers or something, and then you'll find a
For
whole bunch of them.
NBA? Okay.
For anything, they're funny.
right.
All right, so here's this one.
What is happening right now? Jalen
Jalen
Brown
and the
and the die?
Jalen and the
That's so
die.
messed up, man.
Jalen and the die for his victims that he's claimed of putting the dye on the jerseys from
Come
his
on,
hair.
Leave that man alone. Jalen, word of advice, just shave your head like Wemby and me. All right? It's the place to be. Just shave it off and don't worry about that hair going away. Unless you can do the Dion surgery, the one him and Brian Urlacher did, the transplant, but just forget the dye, man. Let it go. Come join the beautiful bald brigade.
Is that a Frozen reference as we're talking Disney here? Let it go. I like it.
Let
it's
it go.
It's a great call in there. Poor
No,
Jalen Brown.
you should actually go like look those up on like just search on Instagram and stuff. You'll find some funny ones, and they're not all like sports related. Like
all right.
They're so funny. There's so many that I'm just like crying laughing. So
with all the great things AI can do, we're still using it for stuff like this instead of, hey, how do I get AI to do all my work for me?
For comedy.
No. Perfect.
For comedy.
Exactly.
Right. Shout out to AI. Not
right,
Allen Iverson, because we know he's better than Ginobili.
But
we're talking about artificial intelligence, not the answer.
Not the answer.
All right, so this next one I have is this student section distracting the free throw shooter. So there's the context. So now you can just watch it.
Oh no. Wait, this is an older one, right?
Yeah. It's funny though.
Oh, you missed it.
He has to miss.
Oh, that's awesome. For those of you who are listening and not watching, they're simulating a birth being done right there on the in the crowd behind the free throw. It's someone giving birth, and it's a full man child coming out in the arms of another man, and the guy misses the free throw. So great, it worked, and I guess they're gonna have to keep that one going. But what a distraction!
I think even if you're the free throw shooter, depending on what the score is on the game, like be a team player, man. Miss the free throw on purpose. Like that's so creative. Like it's one point.
What? If the game's on the line, you can't miss a free throw.
Do it then. But in any other situation, go ahead and give him a free throw. I saw
he should have made it and then did like the too small celebration.
Is there any context here? What game was this? Who's playing? Do we care?
No, we don't care.
We don't care.
Okay. It says Generals, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say this might be like a D3
high school.
Yeah, this looks like a D3 or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I was like, they ain't gonna let that go in high school, so it's got to be college.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they're not doing that in high school. I agree.
All right, that's funny, but that's not really news. I mean, I guess it's just
it's
a
news.
viral video.
Yeah.
No, this is breaking news. A full-grown man birthed another full-grown man.
But not recently. This is like years ago. Now I did see the video. Well, I'm not going to get political here about the hearings and asking. Never mind. We'll move on. You got any more? Is that it?
Yeah, I got one more.
Okay. All right.
This is Oklahoma City Thunder in one of their post-game interviews.
Oh, they didn't shave their head too?
Alex Caruso did, obviously.
But
Here we go.
We won't hear it.
Yeah, it's not about the sound.
Oh, I saw this. Yeah.
They're just putting towels on the interviewer?
Yeah, and it's like the comments are like he didn't go to to school to learn how to be like a commentator or a journalist to get these towels just wrapped around his head like this.
Question, are those used towels, game used towels, or are those fresh towels?
I would hope that they're fresh.
They look pretty fresh.
They don't look. Yeah.
But look, if you're that guy, aren't you like so thrilled to be part of the team in that way, like for them to feel comfortable enough to like. I imagine if you talk to him, and I'm
Yeah.
sure somebody has already, he's probably thrilled that he's at that level with those guys.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure he is, but that's pretty funny. And they look like somebody did a nice fold job on that
Yeah,
headband there.
exactly.
Yeah, it
It
looks
looks
great.
looks like Skandor Akbar. That's a shout out for the wrestling fans. But that's pretty
No.
cool. Yeah, and then it just goes to show how that team's gelled together, and it shows up on the court and the wins and losses. They like playing together. And man, they're having a great season. So shout out to the OKC Thunder. But I hate that Loves patch on their jersey. That is
Oh, I
hideous.
know, it's so ugly. Oh,
Gosh, it's horrible. And I
yeah.
don't like it says Oklahoma City. That's like the
As
old
opposed to
Texas
just
Tech
OKC.
jerseys. It used to
Yeah,
say Texas
yeah.
Tech above the number. It's just I don't like that. But
I agree. I agree.
anyway, shout out to the Thunder.
Maestro
Is that
enters
it,
the news,
Maestro?
baby.
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to see another AI Pixar trailer of Zion Williamson
No. Let's leave that one for next time.
and
Oh.
him eating gumbo.
No,
It's pretty
let's leave that
funny.
for next time. All right. So let me just
Play on
tell you
catching
that
strays.
was Maestro taking us through the news or through random videos he found online, whichever you want to call it. I mean, news is news, right? News is relative. So, all right. Thank you for that, Luke. All right. Now, look, I'd like to get started here. We're going to cover the NFL playoffs, and we had 2 really good games and 2 really stinkers, but we'll get into those in a little bit. I want to start off with an update on the defensive coordinator situation for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, last we left you, we were kind of narrowing it down. I think they at that time had 6 requests for interviews. I think they got up to 9, and I think they've completed a lot of those interviews at this point. And the rumors and rumblings are that Durante Jones has made quite an impression. Now, since we last talked, John Harbaugh has taken the Giants job, and woe to Cowboys fans for this because I was hoping he wouldn't, because it just got more difficult for us, and the Giants could be on their way back to relevancy, as Paul Heyman would say, the island of relevancy. But I'm worried about that. And then the other head coaching move that was made before we get to the defensive coordinators for the Cowboys was Kevin Stefanski to the Falcons. Now, this could affect the Cowboys' defensive coordinator situation because Jeff Ulbrich, who is high on the Cowboys list and high on my list, may now be retained by Stefanski there in Atlanta and could be one of the guys off the list. So let's just comment first, I guess, before we get to the defensive coordinators about John Harbaugh, Kevin Stefanski, the first couple dominoes to fall for the head coaching vacancies. What were your thoughts on Harbaugh to the Giants and Stefanski to the Falcons? You're on mute, Nick.
Yeah, you're on mute.
Golly,
on
look.
mute.
You can't.
No
look,
one's on mute.
What is the matter with you?
Y'all got me thrown
That-
off with the 80s song. That's on y'all,
just
really.
just because the audience might not want to listen to you doesn't mean we don't. Okay.
Yeah, that's fair. I said when Harbaugh got fired and we were having that conversation about why and everything, my biggest fear was exactly what ended up happening because to me, it looked like the Giants were the next best spot for him to land. And I thought kind of for 2 reasons. One, obviously I'm not calling Jackson Dart Lamar, but there are some similarities there. Very, very mobile quarterback. And then, I think because of the way that the Giants are able to spend money in free agency, the kind of talent they'll attract, plus Harbaugh being there now, plus a top 10 draft pick, like there's so much there that Harbaugh can kind of go make, into his own thing, and he's not really inheriting a bunch of stuff. It was definitely my fear because I thought it was the best landing spot for him. I hoped that wouldn't end up being what was happening, but yeah, man, I don't like it at all. I think this immediately makes the Giants significantly better. And if you look at kind of what you've got going on in the NFC East now, man, it's no fun. So really unhappy with it. I think if you're a Giants fan, my wife's family are all from New York. They're very, very happy, very, very happy. got a lot of talent in New York, man. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate for us, and there could be some more unfortunate news because there are rumors and rumblings that Mike McDaniel could interview for the Philly offensive coordinator position,
OC.
which would make them better, I think, and could really. He's got a lot of tools to work with there to make that offense better. If they keep AJ Brown, if they don't, but my point is the Cowboy situation could get a lot worse for the NFC East being better. Um, and I think the Commanders are also looking for a defensive coordinator, right? Because they fired
Yep.
Joe Witt. So we've got a lot of competition out there for these lead defensive coordinators. But what about Stefanski to the Falcons? I know you're not a Stefanski fan.
Yeah, I just don't like. I don't understand the obsession. I guess I say obsession, but like everywhere I read and everywhere I look, people seem to be very, very high on him. And I'm kind of hoping, even in Googling it, I'm like, I'm trying to understand why. Because I really don't get it, if I'm just being totally honest. Like, I don't, the whole, and I think for me, it doesn't go any further than the way he handled the quarterback situation with the Browns. It kind of seemed to be like he got stuck in his own thought, right? Like he couldn't be pushed off the thought.
Yeah.
And unless you're just like a Shador Sanders hater, you can't convince me that he wasn't clearly the best quarterback on that roster. And so it
Yeah,
took
but
a while. Go ahead.
maybe it was an issue with him and the general manager. Maybe he's like, "What are you doing to me? You drafted Dylan Gabriel, and then you drafted Shador. You've kind of put me in a bind, Mister
Yeah.
GM." And so I could see that, but there's all those ties to Stefanski not liking Dion and his
Right.
family. So maybe there's some truth to that. Look, it wasn't great for him in Cleveland. And maybe all these teams and maybe Atlanta got him confused with the guy in Minnesota, the other Kevin, and the better coach Kevin in Minnesota. And that's why they hired him
Yeah.
in Atlanta. I don't know. To be honest with you, I've never been a Stefanski fan, but this situation looks like it's going to be better than Cleveland for sure because they've got a lot of pieces in Atlanta. If the quarterback comes back healthy, Penix, and we'll just see. But I'm not a big Stefanski guy either, but I don't think that Cleveland should be his last chance.
No, I mean, I guess I agree with that. And to that point, you're right. Obviously, Atlanta is a gigantic upgrade in terms of just pure talent. I mean, Bijan Robinson and Penix and Kyle Pitts was looking like an absolute
And Drake
monster in the
London.
second half of the season.
Mm.
Um, and then the defense is like you were mentioning about Ulbrich. Like I think he does. He probably will stay. I think he will be retained. The defense looked really good, very opportunistic.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to like there, and I think that for me is if Stefanski, especially in that division, right? Like that division is just save for the Brady years, it's almost like a revolving door of 7-9s, 9-7s. So if you're gonna prove it, I guess now would be the time. And my biggest curiosity is how much lease does she get? Brand new system, all the new stuff that you got going on. You figure at least a year, probably maybe not super high expectations, but certainly he won't get the 5 seasons or whatever it was that he got in Cleveland to be a sub 500 head coach, which is essentially what he was every year in and year out.
Well, look at the history of Cleveland. Do they have a coach that has a winning record other than
No.
Schottenheimer?
Yeah, probably not. I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah. Um, Again, no other dominoes have fallen yet. We were waiting for Harbaugh. Now that one's gone. So we'll see if these other jobs that are opening up start to fall. But how does this affect the defensive coordinator situation? Well, we talked about the competition for Dallas in all these places. I mean, Atlanta's one of them. They want Jeff Ulbrich to stay, it sounds like. And so that's one less candidate that we have. And it looks like Jerry doesn't want to pay big dollars for a defensive coordinator, and that could change. But one thing I'll say that I really love about this coaching search is that I think Schottenheimer is calling the shots in this coaching search, and they're doing a really good job of looking at candidates near or far and wide. Schottenheimer said they're going to cast a wide net, and it looks like they have. And in this situation, they're looking to be impressed by a candidate, and it sounds like from all reports, and the one I read was from Nick Harris. Shout out to Nick Harris. Luke, you know Nick Harris.
Shout out
So
Nick Harris.
yeah, he actually interviewed Luke,
Interviewed
and he
me in high school basketball. Yep.
yeah
What a legend, a goat.
he's working with the Fort Worth Star Telegram, and he talked about Durante Jones being very impressive in his interview. And it sounds like it's kind of, and the Broncos winning, we'll get to that later, is may make it a little more difficult for Jim Leonard situation. So what do you think about the candidates that come in? What about the search so far? I'm happy that Jerry seems to let Schottenheimer run this one, because last year they interviewed one guy for the defensive coordinator, and his name was Eberflus, and they hired him.
Yeah, I was going to say one and done, right? And I think that's and you talked about it before, but I think that's the most frustrating thing, even with the Mike Zimmer thing, right? Like going back a couple of years, where it's like, it just feels like, let me grab the guy that I know, let me get the biggest name, because these guys were head coaches, and it always kind of feels like splashy, what raises the stock of the team versus what's actually going to help them on the field. And I'm not suggesting Zimmer did a terrible job, it wasn't, but it wasn't this exhaustive coaching search. So I agree with you completely there. That is very encouraging. What I did, I saw the same report about Durante, and the only issue I have is, and not to say that this can't change, certainly it can, but if you really look into it, it says that he really kind of favors a 4-2-5 base with, kind of that, prominent nickelback sort of situation. If you're relying heavily on your safeties and you're relying heavily on like a nickelback or even your outside corners, I would imagine to play a little bit more, kind of zone heavy, zone man schemes. Gonna have to increase the talent a lot to be able to do that. Now, again, not to say he can't adjust on the fly and just coach to the talent. It sounds like he's a very, impressive guy, very smart guy. So maybe he can adjust. But I would say, in terms of where we're at right now today, I think it's a encouraging hire. I just worry about the scheme with the talent, but obviously a lot of draft picks. I read an article where the Cowboys can free up a ton of cap space if they make, some kick the can down the road type moves. So they're gonna have to increase the talent with that scheme, but I wouldn't hate it. I still prefer Jim Leonard though.
Yeah, I think if you're wanting Brian Flores and you can't have him because of the paycheck, right? And maybe they still can. That's not out of the question yet, right? But maybe this guy's the closest to Brian Flores as far as his scheme and identity. But I think part of that is like, how much is Brian Flores making him better, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question. Is like, this guy with Brian Flores looks really good. And you saw what Minnesota did on defense this year, and it was really impressive. But this guy without Brian Flores would be the question mark, right? And if you're going to take a gamble, at least he's the right kind of guy to take a gamble on, I think.
Yeah.
If it's Durante Jones or Jim Leonard, they're both in the same kind of boat here, but they're both supposed to be teachers of the game. Now, you talked about him being the defensive back and the passing game coordinator at Minnesota, and they have, what's their talent level at defensive back? Well, their safeties are way better, right?
Way better.
So
Way better.
with that style coming in, again, it sounds like Jim Leonard and this guy can adapt to personnel based on what's here. But it sounds like Jeff Ulbrich may be off the table, and that may be the apple of their eye, actually. There's other reports that say they really want Jeff Ulbrich, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So I think if it's Ulbrich, Leonard, or Durante Jones, that seems to be satisfying most Cowboy fans at this point. But that they can turn on him on a dime, right? These guys that are
100%.
young, what happens when they come in? They're going to have to really impress us early on for us to get behind them, kind of like Schottenheimer has.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think there's always, look, even if it's just for show, we know that once we get through probably the championship games next Sunday, especially if the Broncos lose, just because that will open some stuff up. But I think all of that to be said is I do think there's probably Jerry, the salesman, the showman will know, all right, we've got a little lag here before we get into the Super Bowl. We've got about 5 or 6 days before we really get into the heavy, Super Bowl row and media coverage and all that. That may be a period of time where he wants to dominate the news with what he's doing in Dallas. So
Yeah.
you may have just some outlier. See Jonathan Gannon. You've just got a couple of other names out there that just from a splash standpoint you might just hear some noise that could be not at all what we're hearing now. I just expect there to be at least one more turn in this kind of soap opera.
Well, two things for me. I don't want Jonathan Gannon. I don't think
I don't
he's
either.
that impressive. He's okay.
Yeah.
But one thing's for sure, whoever we get will be better than Matt Eberflus.
Yes.
We can
Can't be
all agree
worse.
on that, right?
Can't be worse. And that's the other thing that I think makes it so attractive to guys like Durante or guys like Jim Leonard is you're going to come in and it's going to be really hard to not have a noted improvement right away. So I think if you do something great within 2 seasons, as we've seen in the past over and over and over again, um, they're going to get some head coaching opportunities if they can perform well here. I mean, if you look at the last few DCs or OCs that did extremely well in Dallas, they're coaching in their head coaches in the NFL. Whether or not they should be, different story. But do you get that opportunity?
Yeah, for sure. And I think, are you surprised they haven't put out a request to interview some of these bigger names at the defensive coordinator position, like a Flores, like a, somebody like that, Schwartz maybe, or even, Vance Joseph still coaching along with Jim Leonard in the playoffs. And of course, that would be a lateral move. So they would have to do something tricky there.
Permission. Yeah.
Raheem Morris, they haven't requested. I don't even know I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to the Raheem Morris news, but I haven't seen his name come up at all anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at Raheem Morris now, but I do know that the Brian Flores thing, from what I saw, they were kind of waiting. The unwritten rule, so to speak, is that when the guys are in the head coaching pools, you kind of leave them alone until they get through that. And
For sure.
I saw that Pittsburgh actually has Brian Flores going in for a second interview, which, Brian Flores with that team, it kind of makes a lot of sense. And
Yeah.
watch out AFC North, man, because that roster that they have with Flores' scheme would be nasty. So I think that's probably why, Brian Flores, I agree that I think the requests for lateral moves are probably going to be there, but I also think, why in the world would you grant them? Like for Vance Joseph, for example, if you're Denver, why would you say it's okay? Like I
I
wouldn't.
mean, it depends.
Um,
Depends on this contract situation, and if they want to try to promote Jim Leonard, then
right, and
maybe
that's
if they're having to choose, that could be. But I think you're right. Flores, I think, is also interviewing in Baltimore, isn't he?
Baltimore. Yeah.
Um, so of course you're gonna want to let that run the course, and he'll probably land one of those jobs. I mean, I hear he's an impressive guy, but one name that's kind of fallen off of these second tier names is Zach Orr. I don't know
Uh-huh.
what's happened there, but it's not talked about as much here. But Raheem Morris, is he? I think they interviewed him in Tennessee.
Yeah. So Tennessee, but now Tennessee's bringing in McCarthy for his second interview.
Mm,
So kind of looking like it's going away. Apparently, there was mutual interest with Raheem and the Giants immediately after the season. Obviously, the Harbaugh thing happens, and so now that's dead. And then the last one that there have been any noted interest was the Cardinals, and now it looks like this thing that I see here is Raheem Morris may be now contemplating spending a season on TV. So
mm,
he might be sitting this cycle out. It may be one of those things where Raheem says, "Hey, there's enough interest in me at head coach that I don't want to take a DC or a coordinator position. I'm just going to sit this year out and let me, depending on what the market's like next year, I may be a big name, kind of big fish in
yeah.
small pond versus now is feeling like it's the opposite." So maybe there's something there for the Cowboys in terms of why they haven't reached out to him.
Well, it's kind of, you got what, 9 openings, or no, you had
Mm,
9 openings. Now I think you're down to
7 now.
7.
Yep.
So it's interesting that he wouldn't get um much much time to interview with some of these places, but I get it. He's had his opportunities. He's had 2 opportunities, right?
Uh-huh.
And but anyway, um, I don't know when a decision will be coming, but I do like the fact that they're doing this the right way this time. The Cowboys.
Yep.
I think that they're going to have to. They could start missing out on some of these candidates, so they're going to have to get on a little bit faster timetable unless they have some sort of a handshake deal and understand, hey, these are our guys.
Yep.
So, and if you're, like you said, if you're a defensive coordinator, knowing that Schottenheimer hasn't really proven himself You could come in here, fix the defense, and be the next head coach of the Dallas
100%.
Cowboys.
100%.
Or they could be waiting on Mike Tomlin next year. So,
Never know.
anyway, anything else on the defensive coordinator situation for the Cowboys?
No, I think the only thing that I think is most interesting to me too is in some of these younger guys, and I was thinking about this, and some of these younger candidates, and obviously we'll never know this, but the ability to go in there, like Dan Quinn was apparently really, really instrumental in a lot of the player acquisition when he came on, the drafting, the free agents, schematically knowing what he wanted to do. I know when Kiffin was here, that was also something where like heavy draft influence, heavy free agency acquisition pickup. Some of these younger guys, it's like, do they have enough of a voice for Jerry and even Shoddy to really believe in their drafting / free agent acquisition decisions? And if not, if they don't want to go that way and they lean on scouting, they lean on Will McClay and Shoddy. Obviously, we well documented the draft history here. So that's the only other thing that I think on the counterpoint of like, hey, young, kind of energized, exciting teachers is what about the talent acquisition, the eye for talent, that sort of thing on the defensive side. Just a thought of what that looks like.
Yeah, but if any of those candidates, I mean, who would have that edge? I don't
Right.
know. That's
Right.
a question that I would need to have answered. And
Right.
as out of all those candidates we just talked about, who would have that edge? You assume Ulbrich would, but if he's off the table now, I don't know. Obviously, guys like Raheem Morris or guys like Brian Flores, you would trust more than
100%.
Jim Leonard, and maybe Durante has had a big saying over there with Flores on the
Yeah.
Vikings. I don't know. I don't. I'm not that deep into it to know who's involved in personnel decisions and so on. So I'm sure
Yeah.
they have some input, but at what level I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just don't think you will know for the kind of number 2 guys, right? So like Vance Joseph and Ulbrich, the assumption is there. I think if they were to come in, there is no doubt about their wanting, their influence in drafting or a free agent acquisition. Some of these number 2 guys that could be very capable. I just think no one will, hopefully they're asking those questions, obviously.
Yeah.
And we'll probably never know. But that is just the other pause for concern. And I think you'll see that in the draft process. If they do end up going with Jones or Leonard, and in some of the draft choices, you may be like, okay, they're not trusting the new guy to really have a heavy influence. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think it's very interesting, and I agree. Really, really happy that this is a very due diligent, wide net. Seems like they're turning over every rock. I mean, we mash them for everything that they do wrong. This is a positive.
So maybe Jerry's telling the truth, and he is going to do things differently now. Maybe he's, I don't know. It's taken him 30 some years to realize, hey, what I've been doing isn't working. So let me try something different. And maybe this is the first step in that appearing, right?
Little a la Mark Cuban, right? Mark Cuban shut up, decided, hey, I'm going to stop being so vocal. I'm going to stop being so all the things he was. And then 2 years later, they win the championship.
Well, settle down there, cowboy, because it took 2006 and us being robbed of the championship by the refs for him to be quiet, right? It took that. He realized, oh, this is probably on me because I've been really badgering these guys, and now they just took the finals away from us. And so that maybe helped him fall in line a little bit. But if this is step one and Jerry kind of following suit, going, I'm going to do it differently, I hope again Jerry has enough time to see this plan through on this earth. Not to be morbid, but it is a factor, and he brings it up a lot. So it's not it's not like I'm predicting it. What I'm saying is every day that we live we're one day closer to the end, right?
Yeah.
So I hope he has learned that lesson, and I hope he has the right people around him to advise him. And if he doesn't, then that's a problem, right? Or maybe he's listening to too many people. And we just need to really hit a home run in this draft. We got 12 and 20. Maybe we won't stay at 12 and 20, but Jerry, this is step one. You're doing it differently. I like it. The defensive coordinator search has been very vast and very thorough, but I hope we don't lose out on these candidates with all these other jobs opening. That's my only fear.
Yep, completely agree. Well, I mean, it's very exciting, and I can't wait to see. I want to hurry up and get to championship weekend because I think we'll get more clarity.
Yeah, agree. All right. And speaking of championship weekend, what a great segue, Nick.
Yeah.
We're going to talk NFL divisional playoff round results, recaps. Man, look, we had 2 really good games and 2 stinkers. All right. So where do you want to start? Do you want to start in the AFC or do you want to start in the NFC?
Honestly, I think we started in the AFC just because of the unfortunate thing that happened. It's probably a much shorter conversation, to be totally honest.
Okay. Let's go there. So the first game was Buffalo versus Denver, right?
Mhm. Yep.
And this was a really interesting game. You know, we talked a lot about the table being set up for Josh Allen, right? To hey, you don't have the big quarterbacks to go through, Lamar, Patrick, Joe Burrow, not any of those guys. You don't have them to go through. But you did have to go to Denver and win a road game,
Yep.
right? And listen, Josh Allen, and this was a kind of a deal in all of the AFC games was turnovers,
Yep.
turnover city left and right, and the weather played a factor into that. But Josh Allen turns the ball over. I lost count how many times he turned it over. 2 really bad fumbles, like really bad fumbles, and then the Broncos win the game in overtime. And did you see Josh Allen in the press conference after the game?
Yeah, I did, man. And honestly, it's just, I think heartbreaking losses and heartbreaking, just anything this was a heartbreaking. I think that gets thrown around a little too much in sport. This felt heartbreaking because it just really felt like one of his last best chances. Now, who knows what happens, right? They could retool quickly, and he's still a great quarterback. I don't want to take anything away from him, but the table was in front of him. Everything was in front of him, and this just sucks because at the end of the day, and I think in reflecting on it, the immediate thought afterwards is the way they lost and the refs and all that stuff. But when you go back and actually look at the stats, and you kind of look at the film and you watch the game, he didn't play good enough. And I think that's, he played when he played well, he played very well. His high moments were very high, but he had some really, really bad low moments. And I think that's the
That's fair.
unfortunate thing here. So in that press conference, man, it just felt terrible for him. But at the same time, it's not an accident when you're, 0 and whatever in overtime. I think it's 0 and 7 in overtime.
That's a
Like to have
crazy
never
stat.
won. Yeah, it's like you've never won an overtime game in your professional career. Like that's not like there's something to that, right? So,
Well,
um,
maybe because he's some of those overtime games he never got the ball. So
it's
that's one thing
it's
about that record.
very true, very true. Um,
But he did
but
say after in the press conference, he owned it. He said,
yeah,
"I felt like I let my teammates down, and that's why
yeah,
this is so hard." Because you know, I mean, with the 5 turnovers, they still were in overtime with the Broncos, and we'll get to
mhm,
their heartbreak in a second. But the just owning it was a step. But now look, if that happened to Lamar or some other quarterback, I don't know that he'd be getting this much of a pass, right?
completely agree.
On what's happened because Josh is likable, because Josh has been the lovable losing quarterback in a lot of these scenarios. People root for him, right? And this game was really a lot on him. He
Mhm,
just he just turned the ball over recklessly a few times. Now I think one of the picks was off a receiver's hand,
yeah,
and should have been caught, but it wasn't totally on Josh. The defense did give up 33 points, but I would put this game a lot on Josh and the mistakes that were made.
yeah. I mean, I think like the kind of leader he is and has become and has matured into, he said everything right. And a lot of the counterpoints of that was, this isn't on him, this is on all of us, sort of thing. In terms of some of the other defensive leaders and even head
The
coach.
coach, yeah,
Um, yeah, but I mean, 2 interceptions, 3 fumbles. He lost 2 of them, and that one before the half was just,
yeah.
just a really, really bad turnover. So, yeah, he didn't play good enough, said all the right things. I think, I personally don't want to see them make a coaching change. Like, I don't think that they should be there. Um, but kind of seems split. I love spying on the other local radio stations of these teams, and kind of a lot of chatter was, at least from the podcasters and the kind of highest viewed people in the Buffalo area, like they're ready to move on. It's kind of a Harbaugh situation. It's like, it doesn't just seems like we're stuck here. Kind of the Tony Dungy and John Gruden thing.
Mike Tomlin,
Mike Tomlin, yeah, like you just not saying that you're not a good coach, not saying that you don't become instantly a very intriguing prospect for a lot of other teams, but it just might be time to move on. This is probably not going to be able to get it done.
Well, before we talk about McDermott, what did you think of the Cooks play? Do you think that was a catch, an interception? What do you think about that controversy? All the Buffalo Bills fans are pointing to this controversy, and even McDermott mentioned it. I think he was more talking about why didn't you stop down and review it? What did you think about this play? Because when they slowed it down really slow, it did look like he's knee hit, he's on his back with the ball in his left hand, and then the guy strips it away. I don't know. To me, that's really tough for the ref to make the decision that fast. When we slow it down, it could look a certain way. But I really like the explanation that they gave on the broadcast, and I don't think you can call that a catch. I think it has to be ruled an interception. Just my opinion.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that assessment. I don't disagree with the you have to possess the ball, take it through the ground, you have to establish clear possession through the catch. I don't disagree with that. And now, when you slow it down to super super slow mo, it feels like he caught it. It feels like he possessed it. But if you even watch it in remotely,
here it is right
and
here.
here's a great look at the play.
He's down.
It looks
it's his ball. Oh
yeah, it does. But here's my bigger problem with this. As you look at this play, to me, this is the exact same pass interference call that was called
before the catch.
Yeah, exactly. Going the other direction, you had a defensive back that was playing the receiver, never locates the ball, clearly makes contact with the receiver, and there's no pass interference call. Going the other direction, the exact same thing happens. So I don't necessarily have a problem with this being an interception. I think that's really tough in that spot. The problem I do have with this, especially because we know now what happens, 5 to 10 minutes later, is this should have been PI. To me, this is a pass interference call, and the game's over because this is at the 35-yard line or whatever it is. And so that's my bigger problem here. And that part for Buffalo Bills fans, that's the issue I have. And James Cook was running 5.9 a carry or something. They run the ball twice. They're kicking a 30-yarder for the game. So
yeah, I think the thing about a catch has been debated a lot. Luke, where do we get this video so we can shout out where this video comes from? Do we know?
Yeah, I think this is just straight from the NFL on Fox Instagram page.
Okay. Shout out to them. This is here's what I'll say is when are you down by contact, right? Because we know you have to survive the ground.
Right.
And you could say, okay, he survived the ground there, and then the guy stripped it away from him as he's rolling over. So that's the point the Bills fans are making, and it's hard for a referee to make that call and as fast as it happens. I could see this, whatever they called on the field, that it was going to stand.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. But I think the thing, obviously not a Bills fan, I was pulling for Josh Allen, but to be totally impartial, before anything else, you have to establish possession. Before you can be down by contact, you have to establish possession.
And he did.
I don't think he did.
But I think that's the question.
That's the question. Did he do that?
Right. I'm with Luke. I don't believe he did. I don't think it was enough time to establish possession.
Then it's an interception.
Enough.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why I'm saying, on the interception conversation, I was screaming that was possession down by contact. And then as I watched it a couple of times, I was like, you know what? He couldn't establish possession. But that's where then I was like, but that's passing. Even before the next sequence, I'm like, that's PI though. You have to call that PI every single time. And then, I was talking to my brother and he was like, well, they're not going to call that in that spot for the game, which I said, and they had it all night long. So I said, you know what?
Later.
And that's the problem. Is they hadn't called that all night long. They swallowed the whistles, which is great. That's what we all want to see. But then 5 minutes later, however long, the game's decided on essentially the exact same call.
You think that's pass interference on the defense?
I just think the way they called it the other one, he never locates the ball. He's clearly pulling down his right arm.
His
He's
left
playing the
arm, the
receiver and
defensive
makes
back's left
contact.
arm is
Yeah, but
pulling down his or
But
his
it's
left
not-
arm.
If
He's
you're
pulling
not
the
looking
receiver's
back
arm.
at the ball, it doesn't. The rule is very clear. If you're not playing the ball, you cannot make contact with the receiver before the ball gets there, and he
but
obviously does.
He's on his arm after, like,
No, right
he
there, he's
pull-
on his arm.
I know, but he already has the ball's already out of the air at that point. It's not like the ball's still in the air and he's hitting his arms. You see what I'm saying? Because his arm was.
Well, I think we'd have to go
I
back.
think, yeah.
Hold on
his
a second.
arm
I think
is-
we'd have to go back a little bit because they were hand fighting, and then when he goes like right there, his hand is on his arm.
He's already contacting him though, regardless
Yes, he
of the
is.
arm. Look at the
Hold
bodies.
on.
Like he's
Let me
already
go to
making
this.
contact with the receiver.
I think here's what I'd say. I wouldn't call that.
His hands are open though. See the white.
I know, but
the
he's
white glove?
contacting him right there. He's still got his arm down. He can't close his hands good. But here's what I'll say. If you're not calling this, then you don't call the other ones that they called on Buffalo.
Right.
Because it's sort of the same stuff. That's what I'll say. If I don't really think this is pass interference, but I didn't think what Buffalo did was one of them wasn't in my mind.
The second one was clear on Tre'Davious White. Zero question it was pass interference. Like Tre'Davious White got penalized for another 15 and was going nuts. That was obviously pass interference. There is zero question. But the one up the sideline, that was the one that was to me exactly like this.
Well,
and I agree. Don't call either one of them.
Yeah, but think about what else was also called. I believe there was a roughing the passer that was also called. So even if they didn't call the pass interference, I believe there was still a roughing the passer. I think there was 2 penalties.
That's fair. Yeah,
I think
right.
if I remember, I could be confusing.
It was the first one. He's right. No. You're right. It was the first one.
They called that
was that
debatable.
Hold on,
they called it
Luke,
roughing the passer.
you have a really long delay. I'm not sure what's happening here, but that's why we're talking over each other, because you have a long delay from when you're actually talking. And so I don't know what's causing that, but I just want to make it draw attention to it so that we don't keep talking over each other. Let's pause and let Luke talk, and then we can. So go ahead, Luke.
Do I still have a delay? A little bit.
Yes, that's okay. Yeah.
Well, what I was saying was, I think that first PI that we were talking about, that was questionable. I believe there was also a roughing the passer, like it was a double whammy against Buffalo. So I don't think that that's like, the refs robbed the game. Like, even if they didn't throw that, there was still a penalty. So
yes, that's fair. That's fair. And listen, we've spent a lot of time talking about Buffalo, who lost the game. So let's switch over and talk about Denver. And we saw good and bad from Bo Nix as well, right, in this game. And we got a little shocker after the game, after Bo Nix, drives them down and they get the game-winning field goal. Then we hear the news that he fractured his ankle. Somewhere in that last, I guess, second to last play or whatever it was, and that he's out for the season. So heartbreak for the Broncos too, because it's really hard to win with your backup quarterback, let alone the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's just, first of all, too, he got hurt on the there were 6 minutes to go on overtime. It was right after the first set of on the roughing the passer play. Right after, it wasn't on the roughing the passer play. It was on the very next play. If I've got this correct here, I'm Tom Pelissero. It has the report there. So I think, first of all, obviously very, very gritty to keep playing on a ankle that has a broken bone in it, essentially. Like, dude's tough as nails. Here's what I'll say about him having good and bad, just like Josh Allen. His MO, though, has been good and bad through 3.5 quarters. Fourth quarter with 8 minutes or so to go, he's almost the one that jumps in the phone booth and puts on the cape. Like, he has been phenomenal in those spots all year long. This is not a flash in the pan for Bo Nix. He had been doing that all year long. This is something that he did at Oregon quite a bit. All the way back to Auburn, he was doing a little. So I think, like, he's got a history of this. This is not, he got on a heater in this overtime. Like, shout out to that guy, and man, just absolutely heartbreaking. Regardless of, I was obviously pulling for Buffalo here. It seems like that is just so unlucky because I think Broncos Patriots was going to be a phenomenal game, and home field advantage may have been the difference. Not saying that Broncos can't win the game; they certainly can, but obviously this gets much more difficult without Bo Nix. So just really
Yeah.
heartbroken for the guy, man. That sucks.
Yeah, and for Denver, the defense played well enough to win, but not great because you
Right.
had all those turnovers because you had 5 turnovers from Buffalo because Cook also fumbled,
Yep.
which seems to be a running thing for him.
Hmm.
He's been fumbling a lot this year. And so Buffalo had 5 turnovers but were in this game. And it's because Denver's defense didn't play as well as they have been playing, but they played, I guess, well enough to win the game and they made some timely plays, which helped them secure this victory. But I feel terrible for Bo Nix, and Sean Payton's saying all the right things about, oh, we're good with Stidham. We're not going to have much of a drop off, and maybe that will be the case. But I think it's a tough thing, going up against the Patriots. But they are at home, and I did pick the Broncos to beat the Bills, even though I was rooting for Josh Allen as well. But I have the Patriots going to the Super Bowl, and this I think makes it easier for them, right?
For
And I
sure.
just hate that for the Broncos because it's hard to get the 1 seed, and it's very hard to win with your backup quarterback, especially in the playoffs.
I think if you're a Broncos fan, I think Jared Stidham's been there for 3 seasons. This is his 3rd season now in Denver. So he's been there with Sean Payton. I think I don't want to compare Stidham to Nick Foles, but there are some similarities there. There's a few things that if you look at, Stidham's been around for a while. This is his 7th or 8th year in the league. So he's got some professional experience. He's been with Sean Payton the whole time, so he's comfortable with the system. Again, I do think the Patriots will win this game. We're not doing predictions. I'm just saying that I don't think that anyone that's just saying the Broncos can't possibly win this game, just be careful. There's a little bit of
Yeah.
history here. There's a precedent that says a guy in the same system with the same head coach that is a experienced NFL backup, he's only got to win 2 games, man. I mean, it's possible with that defense.
Well, don't forget Jeff Hostetler for the Giants filling in for Phil Simms, and
Mhm.
Parcells is the mentor to Sean Payton.
Sean Payton, yeah.
So there could be that connection. I know you're too young to remember Jeff Hostetler coming in and doing that, winning the Super Bowl for the Giants, but that's what happened. And so I think that they could do it. And you mentioned Nick Foles for the most recent situation. But don't forget, Tom Brady took over for Drew Brees, but he had a lot more games before they got to the
Yeah.
Super Bowl. But it's going to be tough. But yeah, they can do it. Sean Payton, knows what he's doing. And if the defense plays as good as they can, Drake May didn't look all that special today. He made some plays when he had to. But shout out to Bo Nix, speedy recovery. My heart hurts for Josh Allen, but man, you can't turn the ball over like that.
Yep.
And as far as Sean McDermott goes, because I said we'll get to him in a second, do you really think he'd be a top candidate at some of these other places?
Yeah, I mean, I really do because look, I think especially for the way that he has kind of controlled the chaos that is the basically having to go through essentially 2 rebuilds. Now he had Josh Allen, through it, but if you look at kind of the I guess I'll say the Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen years, and then without him, um, there's a lot of other stuff in that. The defense was a lot better, and there's all kinds of stuff in there. But I think when you can consistently win over the course of kind of several different iterations of your team, obviously Mike Tomlin, obviously John Harbaugh, like
That's
that's what
fair.
it seems like
Yeah.
McDermott has the ability to do. But it also feels like there's a little bit more of a sense of urgency with Josh Allen. Um, and I think, especially for some of the younger quarterbacked teams, a Cam Ward, the Vegas Raiders, who can go get a Fernando Mendoza, like McDermott going into one of those situations with a young quarterback seems like it would be a really good situation for them.
Yeah, and I'm not sure they make a change, but I was just curious about that, how you felt about McDermott, because I don't know how the league feels about him.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think that they get rid of him. If they do, I'll be shocked. But again, Tomlin stepped down. He wasn't fired, just for the record,
Right.
I guess.
Right.
Harbaugh was fired.
Yep.
So we'll see still to come with what happens with McDermott. Now the other AFC game, boy, again it was a turnover fest, sloppy ball. C.J. Stroud's been struggling the last playoff game against the Steelers, and in this game he struggled mightily. Pulled it together for a little bit, and then it was like a mash unit out there. No, not really trying to make excuses for him, but his top 2 targets were down. His two offensive linemen were down. It was all on the defense and C.J. Stroud to win that game, and they just couldn't get it done. And keep in mind that the Texans have a great defense. The Patriots defense they're opportunistic. They play well enough to win, but 4 turnovers for the Texans, I believe, and that game got close there for a little bit. It was like 21-16. So for all that being said, it was ugly. The weather played a factor, but C.J. Stroud just was off big time today.
Yeah, I think the problem for me with CJ we posted something during the game of just like, does Davis Mills maybe give you a better chance? And just because Davis Mills, when he has played, his completion percentage has been higher. He's been a little bit more safe with the ball. Now, maybe to your point, guys aren't getting open and you don't have the luxury of being safe. You're going to have to throw some tight window throws and you don't have the little checkdowns there. It's obviously certainly New England knew what they were taking away. But CJ just didn't seem right. Never really kind of looked like he got a footing really in the playoffs, right? Like if you even look at the win last week, 65% completion percentage. A lot of kind of felt like Dinkin and Duncan, just taking what the defense would give them, which is fine. But if you comp that against some of the other quarterbacks that were really trying to push the ball downfield, just felt like he wasn't right. And I think Aikman made a comment during the game. Like, I would not be surprised if in the next few days we find out that C.J. Stroud is dealing with some sort of injury in his hand or somewhere. Like, that was something that I
It could
think
be.
Troy was just speculating on, but that would make some level of sense because he never looked right. But against a very, very, very good defense. So,
I
it's a little
mean,
bit of a tough
they
break.
are, but the funny thing about the Patriots defense, they're not ranked high, as we think they should be, but or we might think they are. But they get the win 28-16, and I think for me, my concern would be more about what you said before is CJ's one of the reasons they got there. I mean, if you look at the
Yep.
run they went on to finish the season, it was a big run. And he
Mm-hmm.
played really well down the stretch. And where he got off to a really sluggish start this season, but then in the playoffs, you're going to play good defenses. The Steelers have a good defense, right? Patriots have a good
Yep.
defense. And if you look all around the playoffs, completion percentage was way down compared to what these quarterbacks had done for the year. It was down because weather and the defense is better, right? And
Yep.
so I think he's still young. This is his 3rd year. They got a good coach there, and I like what the Texans are building. They just needed Nico Collins to play. Schultz went out early with a calf injury. They had nobody to catch the ball, and then their backup tight end went out injured.
Yep. Stover.
So it's a mash unit. Now let's talk about the Patriots, right? They really didn't run the ball well today. Drake May made the right plays when he needed to. And so he made enough plays to win, but he fumbled like 3 times today too. So it was just a turnover laden battle.
4.
4, but they only lost 3 of them,
They
right? Or
lost
2
2.
of them?
They
Yeah.
lost 2.
So good is on them that they didn't lose them all, but that ball was, and then Marks had a fumble. That was crucial, right?
Yep.
So lots of turnovers in the AFC. That's either the defense is really good or the offense was really bad, and maybe
Yeah.
both.
Yeah. Probably both. But I will say the thing about, and maybe not even necessarily just Drake May, but I think the thing about the way that Vrabel was calling the game, maybe compared to D'Amico, especially early on, was like Vrabel was just saying, "You're gonna have to beat me. You're gonna have to beat this defense." And to your point, right? Like the defense, it's one of those bend but don't break situations. I feel like they just
Yeah.
got so good toward the end of the season because if you look at the rankings throughout the year, like sure they're not an elite top 3 at least on the numbers.
Yeah.
But if you spend any time watching this team, which I was fortunate to get to watch quite a few Patriots games, that it's a tough defense, man, and it very much has
Yeah.
kind of the Vrabel feel to them. So hard hitting team. So I think that's the difference is the way that the game was almost coached also. Um, in a microcosm of all of that is there's 4 minutes left, 5 minutes left, you've got one timeout, and D'Amico Ryans punts the ball. Like it's just those things where it's like Vrabel is saying, "You're going to have to beat me. I'm not going to give you any help whatsoever."
Right.
And it worked very well. It's a great atmosphere for a young quarterback and quite frankly, really a young team on the offensive side of the ball to have a little bit of freedom, to not feel so tight because coach isn't putting me in harm's way here.
Yeah, just if the Texans could run the ball, that would have been a different story. And Woody Marks has been good. He had a banged up shoulder, but in the first half they had less than 1 yard per carry, I think,
Yeah.
or barely a
14 for
yard.
14 for
What's it?
17.
Yeah, so that ain't gonna get it done. Then they did a little better in that first drive in the second half, but
Yeah.
not enough to give CJ some support. So, but I think the Texans will be back. I'm not concerned that the sky is falling there. The Patriots were just better today,
Yep.
or that day, whatever. What's today? Yeah, I guess today.
It's
And
today. Yeah.
and so they got the W, and not a surprise to me because I had the Patriots going to the Super Bowl, and now we have Patriots versus Broncos, and we've already talked a little bit about this. Luke, are you sticking with the Broncos with the backup quarterback? What do you say?
I don't know, man. I think I just need to be smart and take the Patriots. Um, Even though I would love if the Broncos won with their backup quarterback. I think that would be really cool. Uh, kind of like a fairy tale, but you know, you see my jersey, so at the end of the day, I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I think unfortunately I agree. I think I picked the Patriots to go to the Super Bowl real early. I don't like the fact that they're going to go. I'm not a Patriots fan, although they're easier to like without Belichick and Brady, honestly, because I like Vrabel. But Robert Kraft, he just doesn't set well with me. I'm sure he's a nice man, but he just, I just don't like the Patriots. But I do like Drake May. I do like Mike Vrabel. So I'm kind of at a conundrum here. I'm sticking with the Patriots to win. I think they have a better chance of winning now with Stidham in there versus Knicks. But I don't think the Broncos are down and out. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion because Drake May is young and it is on the road, and you don't know what to make of that. Here's what it comes down to on both sides, and it always does in these playoff games: who can run the ball and who can get pressure on the quarterback. It's the same talking points. I know we had a comment on one of the videos. Hey, it's the same talking points because it's the truth. Whoever can pressure the quarterback and run the ball usually wins in the playoffs. I mean, check history. Now, there's been teams that go against that to get that done. But as we talk about the NFC in a little bit, the Rams had a great drive because they started running the ball. And I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I'll stick with the Patriots to go to the Super Bowl, and that they'll be representing the AFC in my bracket.
Yeah, I think obviously I had the Bills beating the Broncos, I had the Patriots beating the Texans. I'm gonna go with the Patriots here. I just don't think that ultimately I just don't think Jared Stidham's enough to get over the defense. I agree with Luke though. I think the fairy tale component, the kind of you know the storyline, the soap opera of it would be really really cool. Um, and we've talked about many times. I'm a fan of chaos, and that would be very chaotic. And I'm sure the league would love a Jared Stidham Super Bowl for the ratings. But
Could be a
yeah,
Disney
I
movie.
just
It could be the next Disney movie.
for sure. I love what's the Kurt Warner movie was great. So maybe we get another one of those.
Oh
American
yeah,
Underdog. That was a great
yeah.
one. But yeah, no, I got the Patriots, and honestly, I just don't think that ultimately Jared Stidham will have enough. But good defense, and they're at home, so anything can happen.
So one good game in the AFC and one stinker. Let's move over to the NFC where we had the exact same thing. We had Seattle blew the doors off the 49ers, and it started from Jump Street.
Yep.
The kickoff return. What a trading deadline pickup Shaheed was for the Seahawks, right? Did I say his name right? I always get names
Yeah,
wrong.
Rashid Shaheed, yep.
Rashid Shaheed.
Yep, Shaheed. Yeah, you still have a little bit of delay, Luke, so I'm gonna have to. You might have to signal me when you're gonna talk because I don't want to talk over you. Anyway, yeah, so they got it from the Jump Street and just put the shellacking on the 49ers, 41-6. That defense for the Seahawks was so impressive, and unfortunately, DeMarcus Lawrence, was on that defense. Good for him, but the Seahawks dismantled the 49ers, 41-6. Give me your thoughts on this game. And I think you switched to the Seahawks late. I had the Seahawks early in the season and was riding with them until late, but you switched over late to the Seahawks. So tell me what you thought about this game.
Yeah, I think as we got into the third to the last game of the season, maybe there was 2 weeks left even, like after that third, after week 16, I guess. One of the things that I was saying then was if Seattle can hold on and get home field, it very, very, if you're not a Seattle fan, that's very scary to have to go into Seattle with that defense. So I think that was kind of the first thought I had, even as this game was going on, is like, man, this is the problem. Is it's so loud, they get so hyped, they're such a smart fan base. When the offense has the ball, man, you can hear a freaking pin drop in there. Like it's such a. I would love to go to a game up there just to experience the atmosphere. Um, but so I think a couple of things. The Shaheed trade that you mentioned, they got him for a fourth and a fifth. So talk about a really, really good trade. I think they got for a fourth and a fifth, they got back Shaheed in a sixth. And he wasn't just obviously great in the kick return game, but also made a few great plays at receiver. Obviously, they try to get him balls in different ways in terms of end arounds and stuff like that. I've said it kind of a bunch of times. Luke and I have talked about this a lot with Sam Darnold. He just doesn't lose games. Like at the end of the day, he just doesn't do anything to put them in harm's way. And that's all he's got to do, man. I think people get the whole bus driver game manager thing is like a negative. When you've got that defense and that run game and Jackson Smith and Jigba, just throw the check downs, throw Jackson the ball when he's open, which he's open a lot. Don't do anything stupid. Don't force it. And you're going to have a really good chance to win games. Seattle's scary.
Yeah, Kenneth Walker had a good game running the ball. Darnold didn't look all that impressive, but he didn't have to be.
Right.
Because the defense got turnovers, special teams contributing. So it's a full team win for the Seahawks. The kind you get from them in the playoffs, it seems. And, last week I totally zoned out and I talked about the Hasselbeck Seahawks. I forgot about the Russell Wilson Seahawks. I don't know how y'all let me off the hook with that. I was like, I didn't even mention them when we talk about teams that haven't been there in a few years. Because maybe I'm that whole goal line play when they should have fed it to Marshawn Lynch. Maybe that's what blocked out the Russell Wilson Seahawk years and the way they dismantled Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl. That was hard to watch.
Yeah.
So maybe I just blocked that out. But the Seahawks, this is what they do, like you said, and they get a total, complete, complimentary football win with all three phases of the game contributing. And are you nervous about the oblique from Sam Darnold at all?
I'm not, because I think, and don't shoot me, Luke, but I think we're going to get a lot of the same in the NFC title game. I think it'll be more competitive, certainly. But I think ultimately, if you need Sam Darnold to go out there and throw the ball around the yard and win you the game, then you got a lot of issues. I don't. If that's what this comes down to, give me Stafford, and there's no question in that for me.
Well, let's save
I
that
just
for
think
the preview. Let's save that for
yeah. I'm just saying, but in terms of the oblique injury, like it can't worry me because or I guess it shouldn't worry you if you're a Seattle fan, and it doesn't worry me because I think it's going to be a lot of the same. They're not asking Sam Darnold to win them football games. They are literally just saying, "Do not lose us this game."
Okay, I could buy that, but I mean, Brock Purdy looked disheveled. He looked terrible in this game. McCaffrey couldn't do much. So it was just an overwhelming, game from the Seahawks defense, and one we don't need to spend a whole lot of time talking about.
No.
Let's get to the main event of the day, which was the Rams beating the Bears in overtime, 20-17. And what was, an interesting game. It was back and forth. Halftime it was 10-10. The Rams took the lead late, and then an unbelievable play or miscue by the Rams, however you want to look at it, by Caleb Williams running backwards, throwing it up for grabs, scores a touchdown with, what was it, 30? Well, how much? 30 seconds left, something like that.
Yeah, 17, 30, something like that. Yeah, less than a minute.
Yeah, and they tie the game there. So Caleb Williams shown some big flashes, but in overtime, he makes a mistake, and a great play by the Rams. And I don't even know if this interception was so much on Caleb as it was on DJ Moore, because it looked like he stopped running and the defensive back kept running. And I don't know if DJ Moore was hooking and Caleb thought he was going to run across the field. But miscommunication there. The Rams get the interception. Stafford leads them down, and the thicker kicker kicks it through the uprights to get the win, 20-17. Luke, tell us about it. Let's go to you, Mr. Ram.
I almost had a heart attack when Caleb threw that touchdown. I was like, it's 4th down. Here we go again. This is about to be just a heartbreak situation. But thankfully it was just to tie it. And then we got Stafford in overtime, just absolutely cooking. Yeah, I feel like all my energy is just gone. It was used up watching that game. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. I'm kind of like just happy we won. Oh man, just thinking about the next game. It's gonna be tough, but
Well, wait a minute. You're wearing Davante Adams' jersey, and what a throw and catch there in the was it overtime? That catch to Davante?
yeah,
What a throw by Stafford, and that catch by Davante as only he could do. Probably the two guys you like, D-Hop and Davante, could make that catch. It reminded me of what Aaron Rodgers and the tight end did to Cowboys with that that throw, where that we see every year at this time is that throw where Rodgers rolls left and throws a dart. Everyone thought, no, he's not catching that, and somehow, what's his name? Rodgers. The tight end was Rodgers too, right?
no, that's not who caught it.
Oh,
it was
no. It was
it was Cook, I think.
Jared Cook.
Yeah.
Oh well. Anyway, he caught that ball. That reminded me of Davante doing the toe drag swag. But wait a minute, we're kind of burying the lead here. What's going on with your hair? What are you doing here?
I was doing a tribute to Nick. This is my Stephon Castle. My Stephon Castle hair for Nick Spurs.
I was about to say I really like it. I don't know what the problem is.
No. Let's get back to the Rams and Davante Adams. Forget the Spurs nonsense. But I thought maybe there was like somebody surfing on your head right there. It looks like a tidal wave coming over your headphones there.
Yeah, it's all the people in LA surfing, celebrating, for this win. Yeah, I know when Davante Adams caught that in his nice looking Jordans, man, my gosh. I love looking at those shoes with the toe drag, so clean. And then they reviewed it, and I'm like, when 1-7 catches the ball, we don't need to review it. It's a catch every time. Why are we reviewing that? Like, I don't even understand why we even wasting time reviewing that. It's a catch. Move on. Let's go.
I actually in real time was waiting for them to ask for the review because it looked like that left foot was coming, or the right, whichever the back foot was coming up. And then in the moment, as I was thinking about it, as I was waiting for the replay to come up, I was like, no, I know he caught it just because it's Devontae. Like he would not have
Yeah.
let that not happen. And sure enough, like it's what the dude does with the football is absolutely insane. And I just, yeah, there's not a better wide receiver combo in the league. Than what Puka and what Devontae do. So it's gonna be a fun game, man. I cannot wait. Cannot wait for next week for that one. It's
Well,
a heavyweight showdown.
it just speaks to Devontae Adams, like what type of teammate he is. Like he sees Puka's a young gun, like he's gonna let him, be wide receiver one instead of him being like, no, I'm wide receiver one. I've been here longer. Like, you sit down and watch me and take notes and stuff. He's just there for those big moments. Like, hey, we need a catch. We need a big play. Who we're going to? Devontae Adams, great catch. That's all he's asked to do. He understands that. He wants to win. He wants his ring, and he's just doing what he's asked to do. And I just love that.
Nope, that's good. I think Stafford makes some plays. He didn't play great, but again, it sounds like redundancy here. Played good enough to win, but he's got to be the MVP for the year. But I will say this: I was impressed with Caleb Williams and the dramatic jump he made with Ben Johnson as his coach. Bright future, as you said many times, Nick, on this show. But more to come from those guys. And I didn't see any of the post game stuff with them because we started recording right away. But very impressive season for the Bears. And they'll be back. We hope. Because Dan Marino got pretty far his rookie year and then never saw it again. So, but shout out to Caleb Williams and the Bears. What a great season! But now we have round 3, Seattle versus the LA Rams, and we're split 1-1, where the Rams let the other one get away from them, and they should be 2-0 against Seattle. But now the Rams go to Seattle for the third game of this season against each other.
Yeah, and I think it's, like I said, heavyweight showdown. I think what the game's going to come down to, and we saw it a little bit today, quite frankly. I think the Bears, one of the copycat league, I think one of the things that you're going to look at is some of the ways that the Bears got pressure. The regular season, Stafford was only sacked 22 times all year, 23 times all year. He was sacked 4 times tonight and was under a lot of pressure, a lot of the rest of the game. Seattle doesn't do a lot of blitzing. Seattle, comes with 4 a lot. And with that line, of course, why wouldn't they?
And they get
So I
home
think
with 4.
yeah, 100%. And so for me, we talk about where the wins and losses is going to come from. How does this game really play out? If they can give Stafford some time, and if the pressure rates can stay down, I think LA has a really good chance with this receiving core and even with the backs to make some noise. But if Seattle's getting home and Seattle's getting pressure, this is going to get really, really away. This could get away from LA really quickly, and then coming back against that defense in Seattle could be tough. I expect it to be a really, really good game. I think the line right now is like a point or a point and a half or something. It's not a lot, and I completely understand why. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm sure, the NFL certainly knew what they were doing, putting that game on in prime time, and
That's right.
man, just can't wait. It's really probably one of the games I've looked forward to as from an outsider, not being a Cowboys game in quite a while. I think it's going to be a really, really good game.
Well, you got the MVP of the league and Mr. Grizzled veteran Matt Stafford against Sam Darnold. Last time the Rams, I think, were able to run the ball well against Seattle, and you have Stafford there being able to throw it around. This comes down to who can run the ball and who can get pressure on the quarterback. We know if you pressure Sam Darnold, he's not going to do well, right? That's fact. I'm not, no disrespect to Sam Darnold because he had a great season last season, but got in the playoffs and it got a little murky, and he was running for his life a little bit. Could be the same thing when you face the Rams. the Seahawks have the same thing on the other side. Stafford is a statue back there. He's not running, right? He's not going to move, but they do have Kyron Williams who can catch the ball out of the backfield. They have Colby Parkinson who's come on as a tight end, and the rookie Ferguson as a tight end that could play major roles in this game. But I really think it's going to, I mean, these teams know each other big time. They're not going to surprise anybody with anything. It's going to come down again to who makes the most plays on defense, I think, to win this game. Now, if you said offensively who's better, it's obviously the Rams. But if you say defensively who's better, it's the Seahawks. But the Rams defense is not too shabby. So I'm gonna rock with the Rams still because I picked them. I jumped on the bandwagon, probably mid-year, because Luke kept touting them, and I was like, you know what, they passed the eye test, and so I jumped on the bandwagon. So give me the Rams over the Seahawks, although I don't think it's going to be easy. Luke, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously have to stay with the Rams. I do think it's going to be a great game. I feel like the Rams are going to try to put a lot of pressure, like you were saying. Make Sam Darnold beat you with his arm and his injured oblique. I don't think he can beat the Rams with that. So, and I'm feeling a really big game from Devontae Adams. I feel like a really big game is coming. And also thinking about this is going to be the third time they've played this season. The Rams have shown they're the better team, even though they lost in overtime by that the 2-point conversion and the comeback. I mean, they should go in this game with a lot of confidence, even though I know the Seahawks are tough and they just blew out the 49ers. Like, they should have a lot of confidence coming into this game that they can, I don't know, don't think about it being 1-1 like the last time y'all played, how y'all lost. Go into this game thinking we were up. We just got to do the right things to stay up, and we'll be good.
I hope that came out clear because you glitched like crazy for me. I don't know, Nick, did he glitch for you at all?
Nope.
No, so it must be
It'll
something
upload.
going on with my system. Yeah. And
I
so-
think it's mine, but
Yeah.
it'll upload straight to Riverside. So
I know, it's just freaking me out right now. So anyway, good stuff Luke said, I hope, because I didn't hear half of it. It was just glitch, computerized. Then he sped up in a really fast voice. So I hope it was good.
Yeah, well, it was, and I think the point he's making is 100% right. Like, you want to make Sam Darnold beat you. You don't want to put yourself in a position, just like I was saying with Vrabel earlier. Vrabel did so many good things to just not put his team in a bad spot. That's what you want. That's, if you're the Rams, that's what you're trying to do. You want to put them in a position where Darnold has to beat you. The other thing I will say is Nakua, and I'm just looking at the stats here. Puka has owned the Seahawks this season, 7 for 75 in the first game, 10 yards per on 8 targets. So, I mean, it's not like they're throwing to him, 15 times for him to catch 7 balls. It's 7 for 8. And in the second game, obviously, he just goes absolutely bananas. Devontae didn't play that game. But he goes 12 for 225 and 2 touchdowns on 16 targets. So, I mean, what and further to your point, Jeff, and what we were talking about, Darnold or Stafford doesn't get sacked one time that game. They keep him upright. 12 for 225 for Puka. Stafford goes 29 of 49 for 457 and 3 touchdowns. Like, they better get pressure on that guy or he is going to torch them. But like I said, I think the Bears put a good blueprint out here. And I think that the way that the Seahawks are playing right now, especially at home with this playoff run going on, it's going to be a great game. Give me Seattle. This is exactly what I kind of predicted. That home field advantage was so important. So give me Seattle and the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
So most of the way we go here, it's going to be a Super Bowl rematch. So if it's Rams and Patriots, we saw that was one of the worst Super Bowls previously with Jared Goff in there with the Rams. We've seen Seattle, Denver before. That was not pretty for Denver. So I know it's different era, different teams. The only one we haven't seen in a long time, if ever, would be Rams Broncos, right? So it seems like whatever we get here, I got Patriots Rams. You have Seahawks Patriots. Luke, what do you have?
Yeah, I still have the Patriots and the Rams, even though I'm so tempted to just ride with the Broncos only because I'm just a loyal person. And I said, hey, I picked the Broncos like majority of the season, and I hate to just bail now. And I feel like karma's gonna get me, and the Broncos are gonna win, and I'm gonna get the pick wrong. But I have to go with the Patriots just because the quarterback, you know, situation in Denver is just such a unknown right now. It's just hard to put money on, or I guess not money, but put money on the
Yeah,
Broncos to win.
gotcha. All right, so you also have the Rams and Patriots. And listen, it's understandable you jump off that Broncos bandwagon. I mean, it's a big deal. The quarterback's out, the backup's in. That's kind of like we said. This is that old Rudy story. We're rooting for the underdog, America. Even though I picked the Patriots, I wouldn't mind seeing the Broncos pull it off. That would be kind of fun, right? But there you have it. That's our NFL playoff recap and championship game preview. And there's no better day in NFL than Championship Sunday. I kind of like it better than the Super Bowl on most years, unless we get a fantastic game. And we have been treated to a lot of great Super Bowls over the last few years, as far as close games and coming down to the wire. So, Nick, how did your picks do this week? That's what we want to know. So let's get into Nick's picks. All right, Nick, give us the update.
Yeah, so quick update from the week before for those people keeping count. I did have because at the time that we shot, we didn't know what was going to end up happening on the as far as the pick goes. So I missed Pittsburgh over Houston. That was the upset of the week. So that we missed that one. So I was 3-1 the week before. So that put us at 37-16 going into this week, and a large chunk of my season. I had been 2-2 kind of week in and week out, and then I would kind of have those spikes. I felt like I went through those stretches. So that's what happened this week, 2-2. We got the Patriots correct, and we got the what was the other one? Because I missed on the Bills, obviously. I missed on the 49ers covering the spread. Oh, the Rams. So I had the Rams, on the money line. So 2-2.
Yeah.
I think in looking back on it, I'm really surprised that San Francisco got beat the way that they did. Obviously, the Buffalo game was really close, but the Rams or the 49ers were a 7.5 point dog. I thought they could cover a touchdown, division game, Kyle Shanahan, but disappointing. So that puts us at 39-18 on the season. Been a really, really good year. And going into the NFC and AFC title games, feels a little anticlimactic, right? Like I feel like, at least on one side, the Patriots right now are 5.5 point favorite. Just doesn't feel like, especially after what we've seen with that defense, I don't think Broncos can just score enough. And I fully expect the Patriots defense to take the ball away at least a couple of times. So give me the Patriots to cover 5.5, and then on the NFC side, right now it's 1.5 point spread. I expect that to come down. I don't think that's going to widen. So I'm going to take Seattle on the money line because I think it's going to be very close to even odds. I don't think it'll end up as a pick 'em, but I think it'll be maybe a point spread. And for me, anytime you get into that sub 2 points, just take the money line. It's a little bit safer. So yeah, I'll go with Seattle on the money line and the Patriots to cover 5.5.
Okay, so we're only doing 2 this week?
That's it. I looked at we talked about doing some football, some across the pond football, and I did not feel confident in
Americans.
that at all. So
yeah, you're still researching that, but
yeah.
did you pick the national championship game? Because that's obviously, we're recording this right now.
Oh, wait a minute.
It'll be tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, but we're gonna
not.
but the time everyone hears this, our national championship segment will be attached to this show So, but you can
Yep.
still pick it right now
Yeah,
if you want.
let's
I'll
do
let you
that.
do that.
Yeah, let's do it. Let me see what the spread is real quick.
I think it's 8.5. Indiana 8.5. It was
8.5?
Yeah, I believe so. You might check it.
Yikes. How do you feel about that, Luke? Miami getting no respect.
Yeah,
I
makes me
mean,
nervous.
I'm rooting for Indiana. I'm picking Indiana to win. Like I said with the whole Oregon thing, I know they're playing in Miami, but man, Cignetti is gonna want to blow them out. It's gonna. I don't know if they will blow them out, but I think it's a 2-possession game at least.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was only asking you because I know you were riding with Miami a lot. So 7.5 right now is what I've got on Bet Online. Just so y'all know where I'm getting the spread from. I think I kind of feel like always learn your lesson, right? And in this case, there's 2 lessons that have been consistent. Indiana keeps blowing out the spread, and Miami keeps always covering theirs. So it's like something's got to give here. Um, I'm gonna trust in kind of the team of destiny that I had coined a few weeks back, and I'm gonna pick Indiana to cover. I think Mendoza is just too consistent. That team is too well coached, and I think you're right. I think Cignetti definitely looks like he has something to prove. So we'll do Seattle on the money line, New England -5.5, and Indiana -7.5.
Nice. If that's true, we're going to be celebrating big time tomorrow night when we record the national championship segment.
Stogies for everybody.
Yep.
All right, so that will be Nick's picks for this week. Hope he didn't just jinx Indiana, Luke. You know, I don't know. We'll see. But because he did pick Oregon, right, to Indiana not to cover against Oregon, right? So maybe we should have had him pick against Indiana so we could stay consistent. But anyway, that's Nick's picks for the week. Okay, everybody, we are adding this in right after the Indiana win in the national championship game. I've been waiting my entire life for this moment. We did it. It feels like a video game. All these times as a kid when I'd play the NCAA football game, I'd have to create Indiana in dynasty mode because Indiana sucked, and we would create these teams and go win the national championship. I really can't believe Indiana just won the college football national championship in 16-0. It really hasn't hit me yet, although I did just order a bunch of merch online for my national championship merch. But listen, as a kid, you know, I'm from Indiana, born there, raised in Texas. But listen, I got close to shedding a sports tear, but I didn't. I got some early congratulations when we went up 17-7 after the block punt. Then when it looked like we were about to get that first down before the false start penalty there at the end, I got some more congratulations. I thought they were jinxing us. And man, big play by Mendoza on 4th and 5 to run for that touchdown. And I thought, all right, it's 24-14. The game's over. Then when Miami went down and scored and made it 24-21, that's when that knot in my stomach came. I was really sick to my stomach going, oh, gosh, if we lose this.
That's because you're a Cowboys fan.
I know. So I was really, really worried. I was concerned. Oh, I was like, man, should I, I didn't get explosive diarrhea, so we're all good, right? So, but for me, it was just, it was the last minute and a half as Miami's driving down the field. Luke said they're going to get a pick. Indiana's going to get a pick. And, man, I was just nervous the whole way. And then when he got that pick, it looked like he blew out his ACL after he got the pick. And we could celebrate because Indiana is victorious and wins the National Football Championship. Don't expect a lot of deep analysis from me right now. I'm in hype mode, man. I don't know how I'm going to go to sleep. I might just jet on into work like this tomorrow. I love Curt Cignetti. I love Fernando Mendoza. I love this Hoosier team. And I don't care if they were built with NIL money. I don't care that they were built with the transfer portal.
Most teams
mostly.
are, so that's all right.
What I care about is that your Indiana Hoosiers and my Indiana Hoosiers are the 2026 college football national champions. Okay, I'll let you talk a little bit, guys.
Yeah, I'll come in with a little bit more of the I'll do some of the heavy lifting here with the analytics. Here's what I'll say. There's a couple of things that really, as an impartial, I'm just enjoying the game, and it was a great game, really, really great game. I think you perfectly encapsulated from a bystander that, regardless of my pick and everything, I want to see a good game. When I watch these games, I just want it to be close. I want it to be entertaining. And when Malachi scores that touchdown, um, man, it is everything you want a game to be. But there's a few things. One, Fernando Mendoza is the real deal, right? Ice water in his veins. Never felt like the moment was too big. That back shoulder that they threw, like,
Oh,
it reminds
which
me.
one? It's two of them.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
reminded me so much of goated Aaron Rodgers during that run with the Packers, where
Right.
he would just throw that on a dime to Devontae whenever he wanted. And Jordy Nelson, like, I was having
I said the
flashbacks.
same thing. I said the same thing. I was like, this is literally Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams level chemistry.
Yes,
like
he did.
They
He
just
said the
know it.
exact same thing. He did.
100%. And that's what I thought watching it. And then, I was legitimately concerned a little bit during that last drive. And as soon as he took that snap and he telegraphed it the whole, it was over. I knew it. I thought the safety was going to get it, not Sharp. But regardless, like, I don't know what he was thinking to throw that ball there. He telegraphed it the whole way. I think it's just one of those things where his clock was sped up, right? Indiana did a great job.
Yeah.
It's pretty consistent pressure all night long. It's a big moment. You can't take a sack. So those seconds, man, they just start kind of creeping up on you. And so I feel like Carson just got a little bit ahead of himself. Look, man, you'd rather go out going for it than taking sacks or anything like that. So all the credit in the world to Miami, but Indiana played a great game, man. And if anyone, this is not a fluke. What they did in this run, what they did through the entire season, and really what they've done for the last 2 years, this is a tough out going forward too. This isn't a flash in the pan. I don't think they're going to stick around as long as Kurt stays, and he's going to have some big paychecks thrown at him. As long as he doesn't leave Indiana.
Hey, let's not talk about that.
No,
don't kill my
it's
joy.
I'm saying it's a
I
good
got
thing.
this big smile on my face. Let me
No, he's
have
staying.
this smile.
Yeah,
He's
and
staying.
I don't
He's
think
staying.
and I don't think he's going anywhere. That's what I'm saying. As long as he doesn't go anywhere, they are set up for a run. And man, it was a great championship run for Indiana.
Hey, no doubt. I can't stop smiling. Luke, what do you got to say? I know you've been in dreamlike state with this for this whole season and started last year. What do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, I know last year Indiana was on the come up, but everyone's like, man, that's such a fluke. Like it's IU. They're historically, I guess now, the second worst team in college football history. So it's like, yeah, it's a fluke, whatever. And then for them to just go undefeated and prove everybody wrong that no, we're here to stay is just crazy. And I also feel like I'm playing a video game, like seeing it on the big screen, like Indiana national champions. It just feels like I'm playing a video game, and I don't know. But I'm also excited for next year. I know we got Hoover transferred from TCU, who actually went to Rockwall Heath, my high school.
There we go.
Go Hawks, let's go. So that connection, I feel like is kind of cool. Him graduating from my high school and now playing for Indiana University is crazy. But yeah, I can't believe they won. It's awesome.
Well, let's stay in the moment. Let's not talk about next year just yet, because I don't think y'all understand this. As a kid and growing up in my teenage years and just desperately wanting Indiana football to get to a bowl game, man, to get to a bowl game back when bowl games meant something, the greatest other, Hoosier moment I can remember is the running back Anthony Thompson out of Indiana, becoming a pro. And dude, I just remember all those nights with my friends and their teams, whether they liked Notre Dame or Alabama or whatever, the Miami, back in the late 80s, just having to deal with that. And my team always, stunk to high heaven as far as a football team. I had to start cheering for Notre Dame just because they were in Indiana. And that's kind of sacrilegious as an IU fan rooting for Notre Dame, but you knew Indiana football was just not going to be good. And I just never in my wildest dreams, and they I don't know if you saw the Mark Cuban quote before the game. He said, if you had on the list of probabilities and possibilities, I had me dunking with my ankles before Indiana playing for a national championship in football. And Mark Cuban, shout out to Mark Cuban, we're the national champions, man. I just can't believe it. And there were times, listen, I know that was big to me growing up. And not having Indiana be good. I remember when Keith Smart hit the shot and Indiana won the national championship in basketball in 1987 with the Alford team, right? And the game was coming down to the wire, and it was late at night, and my stepdad made me go to bed, and I had my little black and white TV on, watching the end of the game. It's coming down to the wire, and Keith Smart hit that shot. Indiana wins the national championship in basketball. That is a core sports memory for me as a 14-year-old kid. And this one is right up there with that because it's such an out of nowhere, never in a million years type thing where Indiana basketball was at least good back then. But listen, shout out to Hoosier Nation. We've been waiting a long time for this. And all those people that jumped on the bandwagon, whether you love Signetti, whether you love the fact that it's not one of these blue blood, teams winning the national championship, there's room on the bandwagon. And maybe we'll just stay up here at the top for a while because we like the view up here. It's a great view. And, I knew that we were going to win when Saban changed his pick to Miami pregame. They all picked Miami except
That's
for
crazy to me. That's crazy.
Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee stayed true to Indiana, but Saban picked Miami. Your boy, the coach from Notre Dame, who Freeman picked Miami. I think that's because he plays them next year, so he probably had to. But I said, look, that's a good omen for us. And then all these stars were on the Miami sideline. They kept showing them. Ray Lewis, Michael Irvin, Andre Johnson was there. All these people from Miami on the sidelines. And then you just look over at Coach Signetti, and even though Fernando Mendoza is a little bit goofy, we love him. And
it's genuine, though, so we love it.
And this, my friends, was a team of destiny, and we would not be denied, and we held on to get the national championship, and I will never forget this night the rest of my life.
Yeah, man, just so awesome for everyone involved. Couple more jump back in here a little bit to the stats, just to the Signetti point, not to belabor it. I mean, when you look around, penalized less than Miami. Had time of possession 35 minutes to 24 minutes. Obviously, very intentional, wanting to keep the ball out of Miami's hands, not let the playmakers get a hold of it. 6 of 16 on third down compared to 3 of 11. That's pretty big. Being able to maintain the ball, swap field position. Those are all.
You're saying Indiana was 6 out of 16?
Yeah, Indiana was 6 out of 16.
Yeah. And the second half was rough, though. And here, you want some analysis? Here's what I'll tell you. Our line did not do a great job of handling their pressure. But we made enough plays offensively, and we just kept smashing them with the run game. I thought there were times when Mendoza could have kept the ball and ran off the end because they were crashing hard.
Yeah.
But he didn't, except for the one quarterback draw that we called on 4th and 5. I thought early on Miami was playing off of us, maybe because their corner who was targeting was out of the game, and so they had a relaxed coverage, and we got some easy throws early, which helped. Our defense played great in the first half and not great in the second half, but they played good enough and made the play when we needed to make the play. So I think and the special teams got the touchdown, as we know, so it's a complimentary football, all 3 phases of the game, and I can't be more proud of this team. But just a little bit of analysis, I'll say this. That team, Miami, on their front 4, they're going to have 3 first-round picks.
Yeah.
And to me, that was the game for them. And we made mistakes that we don't normally make throughout the year. We made some tonight. But hats off to Miami. And hats off to, their coach. It was really, really good second half for them. And it made me real nervous. But we held on and got the W.
Yeah.
Did I mention that? We're the national champions.
Yeah, Cristobal, class act Cristobal, he hung out there and I think just kind of watched a little bit. Obviously, wants a little motivation in that. To your point, though, man, I think when they came out in the second half and they said, you know what, we're going to go more man-man. We're going to not, we're going to make Mendoza beat us with his arm is kind of what it felt like what they were doing. And they did struggle early on in that second half. Indiana did, just to kind of figure out what they were doing. Great, good on Miami for doing something different, not just going out there and saying, hey, we're going to keep doing the same thing. But like we were talking about with the back shoulder and just Mendoza, man, I mean, it's not this idea that like these quarterbacks have to play these perfect games and put up 400 yards and all this crazy stuff. Like, just make the next right play in front of you. And I think when you talk about a really well-coached team and a quarterback that's playing really well, I think now with Dante not coming out, this is very obviously the number 1 pick in the draft. I don't even think, whoever number 2 is on the clock, right? Like the Raiders are taking Fernando.
Yeah.
So, just hats off to him, man.
Right? The Jets have the second pick, right? So a lot of people think Moore is avoiding the Jets at 2, but hey.
Well, Tom Brady was at the game too. They showed him on the sideline. So
yeah. Oh, you know what that's about. There's make no mistake about what that was about. Everyone knows it.
Well, and there might not have been a goofier guy coming out of college than
Tom
Mendoza than Tom Brady, because he was a little goofy when he was coming out. So maybe Mendoza will have that in common with him. I'm going to root for Mendoza like heck as a pro.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But listen, I want to say a couple things about the game, because we made some uncharacteristic mistakes. I say we as the Hoosiers, because we had guys missing blocking assignments on offensive line, tight end, running by people and letting them go through, the backs not picking up blitz at the right time. We had Surratt making a drop that he never would do, right? And so we had some things happening. Mendoza wasn't, 100% on, but he made a handful of plays that we needed to make to win the game. And then our boy getting that block punt. Kamara Luke's like, I want him on the team. I said, well, how many defensive tackles will the Cowboys have if they get him? But
he's my favorite player. I love watching him play. He's so good. He plays so hard.
But the screen to Cooper, that was big out there. So there's just a lot of big plays that we made when we had to, and we held on for dear life at the end. We should have got that first down, that false start penalty on 3rd and 1, making it a 3rd and 5 or whatever it was, 2nd and 5, whatever it was huge.
2nd and 6.
Yeah, 2nd and 6, and then it was a 3rd and 5, and we should have picked that up. But listen, all that is water under the bridge, my friend, because we hoisted the trophy, and you can never take that away from us. And even years later, there's not like recruiting violations that could take it away from us, because there are no violations anymore in recruiting. So thank you, Kurt Signetti. Thank you to the wonderful Indiana University. And I am so proud of this team. Thank you to Mendoza. And, that story about him growing up in Miami, going to the games in Miami, wanting to be a Hurricane, and they didn't even offer him as a walk-on, wouldn't even let him walk on and try out for the team, or didn't take him as a walk-on. And I think that's just a great movie. Signetti said it would make a great movie, and I hope they don't get anybody too cheesy to play Mendoza, but I think that would be a great movie. Now, the question is, who would play Signetti? Who's going to play Signetti in this movie?
Oh man,
maybe they'll have Signetti play him.
No, you could. There's I feel like there's a few potentially really good Signettis out there. Like you got a couple of guys up. I'm trying to think about the guys getting up there in age.
Keanu Reeves. Maybe by the time they make it, he could play that.
Yeah. Maybe like
listen, I'm
age Matt Damon a little bit. I could see Matt Damon doing it.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I got to shout out President Trump for being at the game and watching IU cook Miami. That was awesome. I just wish I would have been able to see him do his dance. I wish he would have done his dance, but That's all right.
Well, the crowd was mixed. He got a little cheers, then he got a little boos. So, I'll leave that alone. But listen, I'm a little giddy. I can't stop smiling. I need to grab this helmet one more time and make sure everybody knows that Indiana is your 2026 national champions. And I don't think I'm going to get any sleep tonight. So, yeah, you can clap for that. That's okay. You can clap for that out there in podcast land. And listen, we wanted to jump on here after the game and record this and add it to the show we recorded yesterday. We thought about going live, but how many IU fans are in Dallas? Not that many. So
I gotta speak on that because my friend from college texted me and a couple other friends in our group chat like, who y'all got tonight? And I was like, my Hoosiers. I got my Hoosiers. And he's like, your Hoosiers? And I was like, yeah, my dad's from Indiana. Grew up like in Indiana. And he's like, I never heard you talk about them. It's like, why would I? They've been so bad, like forever. Like nobody should know that I'm a Hoosier fan. It's like, what am I gonna talk about? We're the worst team ever?
Hey,
Yeah.
Not anymore.
I've been proudly wearing my IU gear, but mainly during college basketball season and March Madness.
Yeah.
Although that's been really heartbreaking for the Indiana fans lately too, because we haven't really done much or got in the tournament enough. But that's for another day, guys.
Yeah.
Today is about the football Hoosiers, the Indiana University football Hoosiers, and I just really can't believe it. But I'm so proud, and I got a man crush on Curt Cignetti. I love the way he handles the media. I love the way he handles the sidelines.
Maybe you should play him in the movie,
Yeah,
Dad.
maybe. Yeah,
Get
maybe
your
I could be
portfolio
there.
ready.
Yeah,
I like it.
I got to get some acting lessons.
Yeah.
and,
Get
I
your-
already got
you gotta
the
get your
I got the
eyebrows.
pullover on.
Yeah,
I
you
got
got
the
the
pullover on.
gear. Just need to get
Yeah.
some glasses.
Let me see if I do.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah,
some glasses. I got to get those looks down. But
When I showed up to the house, I was like, Dad, you're twinning with Signetti.
that's
'Cause he
right.
was wearing the same thing.
Yeah, because you know what? The thing it's most interesting is that coaching matters still.
Oh yeah.
No matter how much talent you have, coaching matters. And you see all the memes about how many 4- and 5-star recruits Indiana has. Well, what Curt Cignetti did was build a team. He used the transfer portal properly. He chose production over what did I say?
Prestige.
Production over not just prestige, but
Hype,
not hype, but what's the word I'm
Talent?
looking for here?
skill.
Like future
Oh, potential.
potential. There it is. See, I'm
okay.
so giddy. I can't even think of the word. He chose production over potential at every position. He looked at who did well in the transfer portal. He didn't go for the highest paid people in the transfer portal to pay them the NIL money. He went for the right people and coached his butt off this year. And I just want to end it with this. Hoosiers, national champions. Look, I think that's how we'll end it, this show, celebrating in style. Thank you for being a part of this one. Until next time, congratulations to the Indiana Hoosiers for your national championship run, and you are the 2026 college football champions. Until next time, peace out. Go Hoosiers!